What would you do if God asked you to sacrifice everything you hold dear? This question confronted Abraham, a man whose extraordinary journey of faith would become one of the most profound stories ever told. Abraham had waited 100 years to become a father. His wife Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to Isaac, their miracle child, the fulfillment of God's promise to create a great nation through Abraham's lineage. They named him Isaac, meaning laughter, because Sarah had laughed in disbelief when first hearing she would bear a child in her old age. Now their home rang with genuine laughter as they watched their beloved son grow. But one night, God spoke to Abraham with an unimaginable command. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and journey to the region of Moriah. There, offer him as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Imagine the weight of those words crushing Abraham's heart. The son he had waited a century to hold, the child of promise, was now to be sacrificed by his own hands. The Bible tells us Abraham rose early the next morning. No argument, no bargaining with God, no delay. He split wood for the offering, saddled his donkey, and took 2 servants along with Isaac. What thoughts must have raced through his mind during those 3 days of travel? Every step brought him closer to what seemed like the end of everything he held dear. Yet Abraham's faith remained unshaken. He told his servants, "We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Was this just a facade to hide his grief, or did Abraham truly believe God would somehow preserve Isaac? As father and son began their final ascent together, Isaac broke the heavy silence. "Father," he asked, "we have the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham's response echoes through the centuries. "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." These words carried both agony and prophetic truth, though Abraham couldn't have fully understood their future significance. Picture the scene as they reached the appointed place. Abraham built an altar, arranged the wood, and then did the unthinkable. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar. The text doesn't tell us of any resistance from Isaac, who was likely strong enough to overpower his elderly father. This suggests Isaac's own remarkable faith and trust in both his earthly father and his heavenly Father. Abraham raised the knife, his heart surely breaking with every motion. But at that crucial moment, the angel of the Lord called out, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham looked up, and there, caught in a thicket by its horns, was a ram. God had indeed provided the sacrifice, just as Abraham had told Isaac. With tears of joy and relief, Abraham offered the ram instead of his son. He named that place Jehovah-Jireh, meaning the Lord will provide. This dramatic test of faith carries deep significance beyond its immediate context. It foreshadowed another father who would willingly offer his only son as a sacrifice. But this time, there would be no last-minute reprieve. God's provision of the ram pointed to Jesus, the ultimate sacrifice who would take away the sins of the world. The story also reveals profound truths about faith and trust. Abraham's obedience wasn't blind or reckless. It was rooted in his experience of God's faithfulness. He had seen God fulfill impossible promises before. When he told Isaac that God would provide, he spoke from a place of deep conviction, even though he couldn't see how. God's command to Abraham might seem cruel to modern readers, but the story's ending reveals its true purpose. God never intended for Isaac to die. Instead, this test demonstrated the extent of Abraham's faith, and provided a powerful picture of God's future plan of salvation through Jesus Christ. Through this intense trial, Abraham earned his place as the father of faith for Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. His willingness to give up everything for God, even his promised son, set a standard of devotion that challenges believers to this day. God responded to Abraham's faith with a renewed covenant. "I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore." This ancient story continues to resonate because it touches on universal themes: the love between parent and child, the challenge of trusting in the face of uncertainty, and the remarkable ways God provides when we step out in faith. It reminds us that sometimes our greatest tests become our greatest testimonies, and that God's promises, though tested, will always prove true.